Saturday, November 6th. It's 12:09 in the afternoon now, sunlight. About within the hour, I was downstairs. I wanted to print some articles out, one being CERN, one being something on physicists recording the measuring of time. So I had a paper copy in order to reference, along with the photos that I had displayed, that being the black hole and the plasma for interstitial, interstellar. There was another one on Jupiter. I wanted the belts of Jupiter. So I had the color signature and the bands, but the computer ran out of colored ink downstairs. I also noticed while I was down there, Lewis was there, that Lewis is using a Dell Inspiron Windows XP that was my work computer with a Dell monitor without a camera. That was my computer from mid-2000s, after Alexander was born. It was a computer I bought, and I had Donna Bin working from. I don't really use it, but I'm down there, and I'm minding my own business trying to print out the articles, and all of a sudden, over my shoulder comes Lewis. He's prefaced this by he's upset about a book, a Santa Claus book that he's doing, and that my son does not want to participate. What is it you want?
Right after you said that about your dad, you started texting me, starting with me.
Right, exactly. So now he's starting with Anthony. This is just how he is. He works himself up into a tizzy. So so I'm downstairs. I'm just there to print the articles. I don't want to speak to him. I don't like communicating with Lois. I don't enjoy his company. And I think that he's absolutely fucking crazy. Within this microwave band or belt on Jupiter, with his ear thing, and the interstellar to interstitial connection, and the thought patterns that he has, he is not mentally stable. He just isn't. And so he'll have human thoughts, but they jump conclusion and thought pattern in some cybernet derived misappropriation. So now, this is like Exoplanet. So now I'm here on a tiered problem. I go down, this actual thing that happened. I went down there, I was printing these out, and over my shoulder, he is screaming at me what a piece of shit I am, how I did cocaine, and how I did all this stuff, and how my children hate me, and I'm like, Lewis, you have no proof in any of that. I don't like you. I don't go near you. I don't communicate with you. This is all story that you made up. Then he went to factual, where they had me stuck in some Brunswick, which is like a mental prison, on some watch, and then to document that, to record human mental diagnosis, which goes into Exoplanet as differently than psychology for the mental warped situation I'm in New York. And I'm like, Lewis, you even have those facts wrong. But I was like, here's the facts I have right. I had a house in Ronkonkoma. You were collecting the checks because I asked you to, because I wanted to hold that money separate, and I thought I could trust you as my father. I needed to keep the money separate so it didn't go missing out of my bank account. Secondly, I needed to pay the foreclosure attorney because I was doing a workout so I didn't lose the house and I had the income. I asked Lewis to handle any of the complaints from the tenant and to keep that separate and work through them because I just didn't have enough physical energy or mental energy or capacity to handle more than what I was already going through with the sexual predator being Jason Peter Romer, 1976, the second sexual predator being Anthony Tiafrio, 1975, and this predatory lending, and then Lewis in whatever craziness that he's involved in things, businesses and people, and a lifetime of stacked up charges that I don't even know about. So Lewis takes the money from the tenant, puts it in his own bank account, opens a separate bank account, and puts the money in there. I tell him when I need the money paid to the foreclosure attorney. And instead of paying the foreclosure attorney, he pays off some other bill, his personal bills, and I lose the house. So now I lose the rental income, the only income I had to rely on, which was even unpredictable, and we're not talking a lot of money, and I pay taxes on the entire time. State, county, local, federal, and state at federal IRS level. I mean, I've been fucking banged up from every angle the entire time on the pathetic amount of money I've tried to just live off of. And then that was taken away. So now, he's screaming at me. I'm asking him to just be quiet. I'm like, listen, what you don't like about me is I'm not emotional. I don't want to have these arguments with you. I don't want an argument with Crazy. I want to stop. I want you to stop speaking to me. I want to stop speaking. I just want to sit here quietly with my back to you and print out these articles, and then I want to leave. And then he's like, it's my fucking house, or what, in his humanness. I am still working through this. I have this. Now, when I say at Exoplanet, from an exoplanet perspective, being an Oort cloud that of exoplanets of volcanology that's split up in one of these things that I've got going on. Prior to, I know I was born for Niklaus. He named himself after me. My name is after my father's middle name. There's a lineage that was structured in a conical for a very specific purpose at exoplanet and machine level. I don't know how there were sexual predators that were allowed into the school district or into my living resident neighborhood that sought me out and tried to do whatever teenagers do since I was on cue to be with Nicholas. And the fact of there's mental impairment and imposter problems going on in Cybernet between interstitial and interspatial and interstellar at the same time. But that's an exoplanet where I don't have reach and I don't know how to communicate with. So that was the first 20 years growing up. Then all of a sudden, Niklaus comes to New York. Ian is there. They give me some kind of black, white, yellow award in some kind of fraternity or paternity or sorority or something that I can't read because I don't know Greek. Had never learned it. But Ian was there, and Ian had a one-on-one interview with me in Hofstra area. Niklaus was waiting at the dorm room where I then went back to, and then I would leave the dorm. Niklaus would ask me to leave. I would leave the dorm room. I would go home and wait for him. Then he wanted to set me up with going out and meeting him out. So I went to do that, but then that's where the Jason person was. So I don't know why there was sexual predatory stuff going on while Niklaus was present. I don't know why Jason Peter Romer was in that crazy donkey that night as a music technician. And I don't know why, when I told him to stop calling, he incessantly stalked me and called me. I have no idea. From there, then it became like whatever. The whole dial and the like sitcom switched. But that's between me and Exoplanet. They know what they did and they know who's responsible for it. So I don't now, and let's put it this way, before 2010, before the Rocky Horror Picture Show opened up with Tiafrio, who had a lifetime of that, prison, whatever he had. Before that showed up in 2010, I had live-in nannies, I had assistants that worked out of my house, I had character reference and witnesses. That I am very, just like this, monotone. I'm emotionless. I am facts. I'm get to the point. I have to go out and make money for the kids so I can keep the roof over their head and food on the table. And the bad guys away. That's it. That's how I lived with the children. And we watched cartoons and psychologically numbing stuff. So there was some educational, and there was animals and behavior of animals, that kind of thing, but we stayed out of the human judgment and closet and studying completely. We stuck with animals, real animals, ocean, on the savannah, in the jungle, all sorts of stuff. That's the books that they read, that's what I put in their repertoire to stay out of the sexual predatory lending and exoplanet thing that I knew was going to happen or was happening around it anyway. The Y2K clock, then the Mayan calendar baby, and then Alexander James being an exact mirror image and an exact link in a totally different system was clues to all of that. But now, for some reason, the script was written or moved, the point, nautical point was moved differently, and I had a character damaging event happen when Tiafrio moved in 2010.